A royal figure, already shadowed by scandal, now faces something new, something potentially much more serious. We're talking about Prince Andrew and a new investigation. And this isn't just, palace intrigue. It's about the alleged misuse of state-funded protection, a potential breach of protocol that's frankly shocking.
Exactly. And that's our focus today. There's been a flood of news recently giving up titles, this new police action. We need to cut through the noise and figure out what really matters here for you.
Okay, let's dive right in then. The big headline. The Metropolitan Police are actively looking into claims that Andrew tried to get information on his accuser, Virginia Giuffre. Is that right?
That's precisely it. The allegation is quite specific, that he asked his police protection officer, someone funded by the taxpayer, to find personal data about Miss Giuffre.
Personal data like what, exactly?
Well, things like her date of birth, but crucially, also her confidential U.S. Social Security number.
Wow, okay. A Social Security number. That feels like crossing a pretty significant line.
It really does.
Yeah.
And the timing reported for this request is?
Well, it's telling. When was it supposed to have happened?
Sources like the Mail on Sunday and the Sunday Telegraph point to February 2011. This was apparently just hours before that infamous photo of Andrew with a 17-year-old Virginia Giuffre was published.
Hours before. So it suggests a kind of frantic, last-minute attempt to maybe discredit her, to dig up dirt.
That's certainly how it looks, and politically this has landed quite heavily. You had Ed Miliband calling it deeply concerning.
Right. He stressed this is absolutely not what close protection officers are for.
Precisely. And the Met Police themselves have confirmed they are, quote, actively looking into the claims. So it's not just media speculation, it's official.
Okay, hold that thought on the investigation because, that's huge in itself. But it lands right after Andrew made this other massive announcement about his royal status, didn't he?
He did. Just days before this police news broke, seemingly out of the blue, he announced he was voluntarily stopping the use of his titles and honors.
Including Duke of York.
Including Duke of York, yes. And things like his Order of the Garter membership. He said it was to avoid being a distraction for the royal family. Though it's important to note, he technically does remain Prince Andrew.
The timing feels convenient, perhaps. Giving up titles right before a police investigation becomes public knowledge.
It certainly raises questions about strategy, doesn't it? Was it damage limitation ahead of what he knew was coming?
And this all circles back inevitably to the Jeffrey Epstein connection and that disastrous 2019 BBC Newsnight interview.
Ah, yes, the interview.
Yeah.
Where he claimed he'd completely cut ties with Epstein back in 2010.
But then evidence emerged that contradicted that quite strongly, didn't it?
It did. Emily Maitlis, the interviewer, later said she felt quite sick when emails surfaced from February 2011. Remember that date?
The same time as the alleged request for Giuffre's data.
Exactly. Emails showing Andrew messaging Epstein saying, keep in close touch and we'll play some more soon.
Wow. So that directly undermines his claim in the interview that the friendship was over by then. It suggests it was very much active.
It strongly suggests it, yes, which casts a shadow over, the entire narrative he presented in 2019.
Okay, if you're finding these connections and twists as fascinating as we are, make sure you're subscribed, because there's even more context unfolding, especially concerning Virginia Giuffre herself.
Yes, that's the final, very poignant piece here. Virginia Giuffre tragically took her own life earlier this year, but she left behind a memoir, Nobody's Girl.
And that's coming out soon.
It's set for release next week. And excerpts paint a pretty stark picture.
I saw one quote where she apparently described Andrew as feeling entitled, acting as if he believed having sex with me was his birthright. Just incredibly powerful words.
Incredibly powerful. And you see the impact reflected in her family's statements. Her brother, Sky Roberts, said the family was, proud Andrew gave up the titles, but
it wasn't enough.
He called on King Charles to go further, to actually remove the title of prince. He emphasized the need for full accountability, especially for survivors.
So pulling it all together, this new investigation isn't just about past associations. It's about a specific alleged action using police power potentially to harm an accuser.
That's the core of it now. It adds this whole new layer of ethical and potentially legal scrutiny onto everything else. It's about the alleged abuse of public resources and trust.
So the final thought then, he gives up his titles voluntarily right before this police investigation news breaks. What else might be waiting in the wings? What other revelations could still come out? And what does this force the royal family to do next?
That's the pressing question. You've been listening to The Deep Dive, where we analyze the sources that matter most. Thanks for tuning in.